3, 2, 1.
Roll red, upright track red.
Turns and shoots. He scores!
Take back Silver. Take back Steve.
Mike check 4. Number 2 RL.
Take 3.
Ready,
Number 4,
A.
stay with the defender. 30 blue.
Ready, A, Dan.
4.
Way back to the wall, out the ball. That ball is out of here. Oh, sucker!
Have a good one, everybody.
Hey sports creatives, and welcome to the show. In the coming episodes, I hope to bring you insight into a variety of areas in the sports video production world, such as professional sports teams, network television, OTT platforms, live event production, and of course, social media. Today's episode, though, we look into the world of collegiate athletics. I am beyond excited to introduce you my very special guest, Brian Williams. Brian Williams is the Director of Multimedia for UNLV Athletics, and when I say this guy does it all, he does it all. The word hyphen doesn't even begin to describe the many skill sets that he brings to the table. In today's conversation, we talk about his role at UNLV, how he got into it, how he produces so many different events throughout the year, and some great advice for getting hired onto a video production staff. I hope you enjoy this interview with a true MacGyver and live streaming guru, Brian Williams. Shooting to Score is brought to you by Hall Pass Media and Hall Pass Studios. Hall Pass Media is a full-service marketing agency that specializes in brand consulting, event management, digital marketing, and creative design. Hall Pass Media has a wide range of clients and partners that include the NBA Summer League, NBA Coaches Association, and the basketball tournament, to name a few. For more information, please visit hallpassnetwork.com. How you doing today, Brian?
I'm doing great, Max. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm super stoked to talk to you. As you know, I'm just getting started in this whole podcast game, and I couldn't think of anything better to get started with off the bat as someone that, I've looked up to and has been kind of a mentor to me. So I appreciate you jumping on with me today.
Man, anything for you, you know that.
Appreciate you, man. So I just want to get started talking about, kind of how you get started in the video production game. I mean, I guess from an early age, kind of from high school on, what's your story?
You know what? My story was, I was in high school, man. I was going to be a biochemist. And then after high school, when I started college, I was an accounting major. So my whole goal in life was to eventually join the FBI. And some strange circumstances after graduation, the lost transcript, and some craziness after doing really good on some tests, I was disqualified from becoming an FBI agent. And then but at the same time, I was playing basketball, and the coach, really great guy, Coach Spoonhour, when I couldn't play anymore, helped me get a job at UNLV. And from there, it was like, hey, while you're at school, what do you think about working at UNLV? They need some help. You're not going to be playing basketball. And I was like, man, that'd be huge. And then, I just gravitated towards it. It was an opportunity for me to be creative, which I can't draw. I can't even write legibly, barely, but this allowed me to be creative and make cool videos and do animations and do some really cool things where all of a sudden I found a new passion.
Yeah. So can you talk about that, how you kind of transitioned from basketball into making videos? Like how exactly did that work?
You know what? So it felt unreal for me. Like, you grow up and, I graduated high school in 2000, so 20 years ago. And so this was like 2002. And you see highlight videos and, I'm a basketball player. So I'm watching ESPN, I'm watching, Turner Sports or TNT, and then I'm seeing these highlight videos. So when I got to make my first highlight video, it was for, the UNLV season coming up. And it just spoke with me. I've worked on the first like non-linear editor. There's two out in the market. There's Avid and there's one called Media 100, which I think I had bought for like $45,000 back in 1998. And so here it is 2002 and only like 3 people know how to use it. They put me on it and hey, here's some highlights. Here's how you drop clips. And there wasn't digital clips at the time. Like, you had to digitize, which means everything ran off a tape. And then you captured off the tape that way.
In real time.
And in real time. So you've watched the clip, cue it up, hit play, then hit record on the Media 100 editor, and you captured your clips. And so I went through and I made my first highlight video, and it was cool. I wasn't sure how people were gonna like it, and man, they loved it. And then this is like my first editing job ever, and so I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. So, and it just worked out because I played basketball, that I knew how to tell the story in a cool way, and all I did was watch basketball and study basketball. That was my life. And then so it just it just worked out, and kind of ran from there.
That's awesome. And fast forward today, here you are as director of multimedia for UNLV athletics. Can you talk about, I guess, the use of media in the athletic department today and what you oversee in your day-to-day role?
Well, my role is probably a super complicated role just because I got to wear multiple hats. As director of multimedia, so I was like, oh man, I might do videos, I might do stuff like that, which I mean, my team does do, but at the same time, I also oversee marketing, sponsorship fulfillment, new business development, and dibble dabble in creative, not only for UNLV but also external clients that contract UNLV for support, like the city of Las Vegas and different promoters who bring in special events to our buildings. So we're always busy and always getting the chance to expand. And then so how like my role has changed from years ago. Like, the director of multimedia didn't exist as a real title too much before 10 years ago. It's just with the explosion of online media, streaming, just online video content, and how much people spend not in front of traditional mediums like TV and radio. The multimedia person was kind of invented, somebody that could talk to people on multiple platforms. And then so like that's kind of been my my job and my my passion for the last 10 years of being able to grow our brand and growing our multimedia exposure.
That's awesome. Can you talk about the different properties kind of that you guys utilize for video? Because I mean, a lot of universities probably have this, but especially in Las Vegas and especially before T-Mobile was there, Thomas and Mack and Cox Pavilion and the UNLV facilities were the facilities for special events in Las Vegas. What are some of those that you provide services to, and what are some of those services that you provide?
Oh man, I see. We only it's our last year of our stadium because of the brand new Allegiant Stadium or the Raiders and UNLV would be sharing, but we also had a stadium as well. So Sandboy Stadium, and between Thomas and Mack and Sandboy Stadium, we were rocking like we're doing multi-million-dollar events. Supercross, which I was the director, and my crew did the live productions show for that. Supercross World Finals, Las Vegas Bowl, USA Sevens Rugby, and then National Finals Rodeo, which I'm the in-house video director for that one. Mountain West Basketball Championships. We do the conference tournament for our basketball for men and women every year. And then we have our, one of probably the country's biggest events now in the NBA Summer League, which that was actually that was my first commercial. Second commercial. That was my second commercial I'd ever did. I think I was 20 years old when I was able to work with the NBA Summer League and make that commercial. I mean, so being able to see that event come from, 15 people in the building to 27,000 people, at one time in the building, it's just amazing, like to see that growth over the last almost 20 years. So, I mean, the event listings go on and on. I got to do equestrian horse jumping and dance and dressage in a couple of months here, which I'm going to be also their in-house director. It's kind of like my little secret niche, these equestrian events. Kind of like dressage. It's kind of weird to watch at first. All of a sudden you get kind of to it and you start understanding judges is an awesome event. Like I was like, man, this dressage stuff is really, really cool. Same with rugby. Rugby is an awesome sport.
Yeah.
If people haven't seen it, it would change your life going to, going to like USA Sevens. It is a fantastic event. So I went from just a basketball guy to I had to study and really dive into multiple events. Like many people in the world, I mean, I can say country and probably the world that can say like, you know what, I'm an expert at, supercross, at rodeo, at horse jumping, at horse dancing, basketball, football, because we also did Rebel football at the stadium. I mean, just the diversity of events that I've gotten to be a part of over these last 20 years has been amazing.
Right. I mean, yeah, tons of events. So for these, you're mostly in-house director, or are you doing any output to, whether it's web or linear television?
Yeah. So a lot of the events we streamed. I've done TV live broadcast. I've done international broadcast for I've done international broadcast for soccer. I've probably done production for about 7 different networks as either a producer or director. And then streaming, oh my gosh, I do probably about 250 streaming events a year.
Wow.
So we are, diversity is ever. And what's crazy is as time has gone on, like, the times of, working, I think the first time I met you, were we in Chicago?
I mean, it might've been Vegas or,
Trying to think,
one
first
of the
time I met you,
Adidas
did the
camps.
TV truck? Might have been Vegas. Yeah, we did Adidas camp, and I remember the first time I was worked in a truck as a TV producer was 2006, 2005, and we did Adidas basketball. And then from there, I was able to expand, work and do about another 6 or 7 8 truck events, where we actually had the broadcast truck, went to CBS Sports. We did ESPN a couple of times. I think we did Fox Sports once. So yeah, we've gone to multiple networks, multiple channels, and multiple cities.
That's amazing. I mean, how did you, with zero experience, get into, the live production game?
So what ended up happening was the person that was, so at UNLV, we bought the Portland Trailblazers video board in 1994. And it was because UNLV was super hot. Portland Trailblazers was the first NBA team that had a video board. Them and the New York Knicks got them the same year. And then Portland decided to buy a new video board. And we bought all their stuff. We bought their whole control room and everything back in 1994. And then by 95, everything was up and running. And then when I came on in 2002, we had just bought a new video board since theirs was used. We kind of realized we needed a little bit bigger and a little bit more up-to-date board. And then in 2002, I started live producing UNLV basketball games. And then from there, then after that, my first special event that I did was actually Monster Jam. A lot of people don't know this because of the size of it now, but at the time, actually, UNLV football at Sandboy Stadium had the biggest video board in the country for a whole 6 months. And then so we had some, really, really cool events, and they were able to do that with our special events because we had a video board. So a lot of events were, intrigued to come to our venue. and started doing concerts and different things. So no experience. And so I literally just studied. I watched a lot of like ESPN games and how they switched and called games, like camera angles and different things. I wrote a cheat sheet, went in there and started executing that. Then after that, it all made sense. Like you want people to be able to see the clearest visual as possible, and you're able to figure it out.
What are some things, I mean, do you still use cheat sheets? And like, what are some things that you conclude on those? I mean, anything from equestrian to Monster Jam to basketball, like, what does that look like?
I have a binder of everything that I do for an event. So it includes setup. It includes like where the cameras were, where were the cameras, how were the cables ran, what were the issues that we had, what were the good highlights, like everything that possibly like communicates that's going to be an issue or something that can save time for the following year. But also I always operate in the fact that let's just say something happens and I'm not here. Mm-hmm. So, God forbid, whatever can happen. I don't want to leave the next person or my team in a lurch where only Brian knew that. Right. Only Brian knows that, and then so what I do is I create this binder, and then when they go in, so when you're at Supercross, and let's say, and so if I'm not around or something happens, I want them to be as successful as possible. So my cheat sheet will say, hey, remember, they're gonna have 4 motorcycles come out of the center roll-up door. So just be prepared with the low angle and then switch to high angle. They're going to do the speed triangle, which is a thing that we do on some of our field sport events. And they're going to cut from 4 different places, and they want riders and reporters to be in each single place. So how did I cut that? So I do like a little cheat sheet. So that way everybody's prepared. And in case I can't be there, I'm helping the next person out.
That makes sense. No, it's great. How did you get into, you talked a little bit about the live event stuff. How'd you get into live streaming?
Man, I will tell you, I got into live streaming because of this guy named Albert Hall. So what ended up happening, one year we're doing Summer League. So Albert Hall, if people don't know, he's one of the co-founders of NBA Summer League here in Vegas, and he operates he's the GM or vice president. I don't know what his title is when he's here. He just does everything. He's always running around. And then and back in 2008 or 9, Albert calls me and he says, hey, I want to stream Summer League. And I was like, and so for me, I'm always down for a challenge. And I was like, all right, so let's do it. He says, so what do we need? I says, well, I think we need somebody to send a signal to, and then they'll code. So we have this great company in Las Vegas called iStream Planet. And iStream Planet says, yeah, all you got to do is, all we need is internet, and we need the best internet you can get. And I think at the time, best internet is like 10 megs, so like imagine how we are today. Right. And you're trying to do everything on 10 megs. And then so it was like 10 megs, and it was a fortune just to have a 10 meg line. And then so we ended up, and so we started, so I built a fly pack. So I bought, we got a TriCaster. I think I specifically bought the TriCaster that year for Summer League. When Albert asked me, he gave me like 3 months to figure it out. So I was like, hey, it's my TriCaster. We can switch cameras, and it says we can take data. And so I got a TriCaster, started reading the book, and was able to figure it out. And, worked on it, and we were able to get a score bug built internally into the machine. It was great. And then from there we hit go during the Summer League in the Cox, and it worked. It worked really, really well. Albert tells the story the best, but we were killing it. We were like, the first day, gosh, I want to say we had like 10,000 downloads for $10 a pop. I mean, we were like, oh my goodness, this is a home run. Second day, 10,000 downloads went to like like 8,000. We're like, all right, we're still good. We're still killing it. Like, we covered expenses already. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Then it went to like 1,000 people. We're like, what just happened? And then we look, and everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm watching the summer league online. We're like, what? And then so our stream had gotten hacked.
Yeah.
And it was everywhere. So after the second day, we're people were downloading Hand Over Fist, feeling super successful. And then the third day happens, and Albert, puts on his lawyer hat or does whatever and starts getting that all taken care of. And then we go home on the fourth day. And on the fourth day, everybody's like, yeah, I watched the summer league on TV. We're like, what do you mean? It's only online. Nope. It was on NBA TV, and they were just broadcasting the whole games for free. We're like, oh my gosh. So it was super successful. Like, so we still did everything, and it was on NBA TV, broadcasting it from a little TriCaster. If anybody knows anything about multimedia or live production, the TriCaster is the size of a shoebox back in those days.
Yeah.
And it was literally powering a national broadcast of basketball for Summer League. So the first Summer League was broadcast online, stolen, and then broadcast on TV all in the same year, all from a $7,000 little box. And then the next year, because of so many people watching it on TV, because there's no content in the summer, we then Turner Sports came in and took over.
What year was that?
Turner Broadcasting.
Do you remember
that
what
was
year
same year?
that first year?
I think it was 2008 or 2009.
2008 or 2009. Wow. How far it's come.
Yeah. And now it's the media. It's like it sucks up the universe for media over the summer in the month of July. And I kind of pat ourselves on the back a little bit, because no one knew if it was going to be a viable TV option. Albert had a vision of trying to lead streaming because he felt people were buying, and the next thing you know, people are watching it all over the country, and they said, "Look at these ratings!" Like we got the ratings report. We were doing crazy ratings. Like, it was insane. I was like, wow. Like we're doing, I can't even tell you the number, but the ratings were like hundreds of thousands of people are watching each game.
Wow.
And then next year, yeah.
For a stolen summer league feed.
Exactly.
Stolen stream.
Stolen summer league feed. And then so what ended up happening was Turner, on like the day 2, had brought in a truck, and they said, hey, we just want to capture highlights. And so we ran them a feed from our show, and we had Joel Myers the first year. He used to be the Clippers broadcaster. Now he's with I know he does some NBA TV stuff, but I think he's with Memphis, or I forgot what team he's with now. But he was our play-by-play guy. We were bringing a couple of people in, like we were like mom and popping it, but it was a good broadcast.
Yeah.
It was really good, and we were delivering what people wanted. They just wanted to watch basketball and see who was going to be next. And you know what? It was Steph Curry's first year, I believe.
Wow.
It was Steph Curry's rookie year.
Yeah, 2009, I think that would have been it.
Yeah, it was Steph Curry's rookie year. Yeah, it was Steph Curry's rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
And because I can still remember the highlights on that huge score bug, because we made a really big score bug for the broadcast because people were watching it on the stream.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, hey, since they're watching it on the stream, this is before you put your laptop to your TV.
Right.
So it was like, it was like 09.
And it's pixelated, so you need to have the big letters, big numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was a small, bandwidth of stream. So like we made a super huge bug, and then so then all of a sudden we're getting these emails like, hey, you guys think you can shrink the bug down for? We're like, for a stream? No, people need to see the score on their little monitors, and they're like, oh no, but on TV it looks too big. I'm like, what do you mean on TV it looks too big? I mean, it shouldn't be on TV. And then no, it's on TV. So that's one of my favorite stories, just because we used a little ingenuity, made a little portable fly pack, and we killed it.
Yeah, I mean, that's as long as I've known you and like from, the more I learn about you, this kind of the story of your career and the story of your success is ingenuity. Where do you think that comes from?
Man, I love problems. And then so if anybody, if you know me, and then so you see what happens, like if there's a problem, I'm like, it's kind of like my comfort zone. It's like, yeah, you want things to go smooth. You don't want major problems. You don't want problems that you can't, accomplish. But sometimes things that are different, and it's like a puzzle, right? Like, what in this puzzle is making this do this, or why can't I figure that out? And I just love to solve the puzzle. And then so you got to have that in life, right? Like you're going to run into situations, and are you going to fold up, and are you going to try to, are you going to try to roll up your sleeves and try to figure it out? And I think that's what directors do. That's what presidents and CEOs do. They have a problem or there's a need, and they roll up their sleeves and they try to figure it out.
But you're armed with the knowledge to be able to do that. It's not like you just are putting yourself in a position and saying, here we go. You've gained, the intelligence, the experience to be able to work around, to, figure out a workaround or whatever it is that you need to do.
Yeah, but that's just problem solving, right? So like when you start to solve your problems or figure stuff out, then eventually as you're doing that, you run into like new cool knowledge that you didn't have, and then so now you're able to do things that you're like, oh, so now if I do this and this and this, I can now do that. And that's all just because you got to play around, that's what it's about. It's about just having fun. And if you have a job where you can't like try different things, or if you can't, just allow your mind to be like, have fun and be a little bit creative or, knowledge seeking, then that kind of sucks a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to have that in your job. You don't do like creative fraud bookmaking stuff. I'm saying like just creative in your thought process, right?
Finding a way to make something go easier or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, think about our country and our world, just our world. Our world is built on some of the most beautiful things in the world because somebody just was playing around, or just had freedom of thought or freedom to seek knowledge. And next thing you know, they discover or they make something that changes the world forever. And that's what you got to be able to do in your job. Try
something new. And, if it works, great. If not, you learned how to do something new, you can use it towards the next thing.
100%.
All right. Well, I want to ask you real quick, just a little bit more about, the video aspect of UNLV athletics. Just kind of, I'm interested from your perspective as a multimedia director for a college athletics program. What are the different types of ways that you guys utilize videos outside of just live streaming, so produced content?
Oh man, storytelling. I mean, everything's about storytelling. And even you make a 15-second video we'll make 15-second videos for Snapchat. We'll make TikTok videos,
right?
And then Instagram videos, or just creative posts. They don't always have to be videos. Just sometimes an image is way more powerful than a video. Sometimes, just to be truthful. And then so what we do is we're trying to always tell our story, and we're doing that in a creative way, like. You're playing your rival. So you put a 15-second video up and you say, we're ready. Like that tells the story of where we're at. Sometimes you're, it's the simple messaging of like, we have a crazy catchy jingle. We get you there. Like that, we get you there. At the time when we made it, we were the only people to have our own like in-house ticketing as a college at that time. So we were like, hey, let's be crazy. And then that comes from our director from the past, Darren Libanani, and Jason Finfrock, who was our marketing director at the time. He was like, what if we started our own ticketing company? They're like, what do you mean? They're like, we can work with Pacquiao, we'll become our own ticketing company, and we can sign other businesses up. But we need to have a catchy jingle so our brand is cool. So they came up with UNLV tickets. And then the tagline, we get you there. And then next thing you know, people were saying that all over the city. They're like, oh my gosh, I hate your guys' tagline, but it gets stuck in my head. And I'm like, that's what we wanted, you know? So like, that's our part of our story. And so as UNLV, like when we're doing certain videos or graphics or anything we're trying to create, we're always trying to tell our unique story. We want to tell the story of our student athletes. We want to tell the story of how great our properties are. We want to just tell the story of the parents who bring their kids to Disney on Ice, and their kids are like amazed, like, and you see the smiles on their faces. Like those are beautiful stories that you can't, you can't make up.
Right.
And they change people's lives forever.
So you guys obviously have one big overarching goal with every video, to tell the story. But what are some kind of motivational factors in there from a monetary perspective? Is it sell tickets? Is it get kids to enroll in the school? Is it get the best recruits? Does each video serve one of those purposes or try to serve multiple purposes? Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah. So every video. Okay, so let's talk about on a the athletics perspective. So what we try to do is we try to tell our cool story, because we want one thing. We want to entice pride.
Okay.
In the UNLV. We want people when you say UNLV to solicit, like to have an emotional attachment to that and be prideful. So like that's definitely important to us when we talk about UNLV athletics, because with that pride, you're able to recruit, because you're able to see, like, look how much pride people have off this. So we always, when we talk about ourselves, we talk about ourselves that we're Duke, that we're Kentucky, that we are, that we are big time. Like, we know we're big time and we're here, so you need to be here with us. Like, that's always our story. So whatever we do, that's what we're always trying to accomplish. For the athletic side, the ticket side, we're trying to sell tickets, right? But we try to do the same thing. We try to have that FOMO effect. So we try to create content that, like, if you're not here, then there's something wrong with you. Like, you're going to be missing out. Like, you're going to hate. If that event's on Saturday, you're going to hate on Sunday that you weren't here.
Yeah.
And then so, like, that's how we talk. That's the way we use video or content.
I mean, so you've got quite a team that works for you. I mean, what do you look for in bringing someone onto your team? Because it sounds like you're probably looking for people or most of your team is almost required to eventually learn as much as they can and just try to be like you. Is that right?
Yeah, you know what? I would, that would be the case. I actually look for people that have a joy about them. You know what? Because people with joy, they bring something to the table. If that makes sense what I'm saying. So, like, when you could be like, hey, I'm a graphic designer, but you are very monotone. You can have the best portfolio in the world, but when you talk to them, you don't feel a joy, right? I much prefer the guy that has 70% of that talent, but 100% more joy and excitement, because they're going to bring creativity. They're going to push themselves. They're going to push us with ideas and thoughts. And then so that way we'll actually be better. So that's what I look for. That's exactly what I look for.
That's awesome. It's, interesting, great take. What's some advice you have? Is there a big piece of advice that you give to any of the young people that work for you? Or is there something, that big golden ticket advice thing that you can give?
You know what? I just tell people, say yes. This is what I always tell people. The answer is yes until no is the only option. So, and what I mean by that is so many people are quick to say no. So many people are quick to be bothered when people ask them, and they show that. So that that body language and that facial expression really kind of dictate, lets them know who you are. But if you're a person that you know that you will bust your butt and you're trying your possible best every single time, and then you're like, it didn't work out, then you know what they say? I know you'll work your hardest for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, that dictates who you are. That shows them who you are.
That's awesome. That's a great piece of advice. And I think that's a great place for us to kind of wrap this thing up. I appreciate you, joining me today here. And do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, man, just keep going, Max. And if anybody's listening, one of the all-time favorite people I get to work with every year is you, just because you show those same thought processes that make people great. And then so that's why I appreciate working with you, and definitely good luck on your podcast. And thanks for inviting me to talk.
Thank you, Brian. That's means a lot to hear you say that. So appreciate that. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
I really appreciate you taking the time to listen today, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, show us some love and leave a review, or even send it to a colleague that you think might enjoy it as well. And as always, tune in next week for another exciting episode where we dive into a different aspect of sports video production.